My name is Michael Wurmbrand. I come originally from communist Romania in Eastern Europe. When I was 8 years old, my father decided to give me violin lessons. You do not have to leave your seats, I'm not going to play for you. I don't think I took more than 1 or 2 lessons, maybe 3. Every time this poor teacher showed up, I was hiding under a bed in a closet. I ran away from home. And eventually, as I came out of Romania and arrived here in the United States, this year are 50 years since I arrived from communist Romania to the United States. I figured out that God has a sense of humor, because between my son and my daughter, I attended 1,200 lessons. I did well not to take violin because the opportunity disappeared very fast. My father was a Lutheran minister, and he ended up in a communist prison for 14 years. My mother also was arrested and was kept nearly 3 years in a communist prison. And 14 years is a long time, 3 years is a long time, and probably many times people ask me, what happened to you? And because it's relevant to this afternoon, I will tell you shortly what happened to me. These were a terrible time under communism in Romania. If I woke up in the morning when I was 11 years old, and I would walk the street between blocks so-and-so to street so-and-so, it was like a ghost town. Everybody had been arrested, everybody had disappeared overnight. And people who knew me, because my father had a church of 1,000 members, and that was a fairly large church for Romania. People who knew me, if I walked on this sidewalk, they usually would cross to the other sidewalk. So God forbid anybody sees them greeting me. This incredible Christian lady, 20 years old, had the courage to take me and another boy in her home and take care of me until my mother came back from prison. This was not without proper retribution. The communists eventually found out that she had dared help the child of a political prisoner, and she was in prison 6 years for these crimes. She actually made all these 6 years of prison. Eventually, to come to today, we were ransomed for $10,000 out of communist Romania. The communists sold us for $10,000. You might have heard the communists hate the capitalist, but they for sure love the capital. So it so happened that someone knew the Minister of the Interior, the top head of the communist police. He was bribed for $10,000. That's how we came out. And because of my story, I am very sensitive to the plight of those who were left behind. A lot of Christians who passed through communist prison are today 80, 90 years old. In fact, I'm helping some people who are close to 100. And I also have on my heart to help orphans in Eastern Europe, especially in Romania, at a population of only 20 million. At the fall of communism, there were over 200,000 orphans. This gives you an idea. In the United States, at a population of close to 350 million people, there are only about 130,000 orphans. So this gives you an idea how serious is the problem with these orphans. And when Romania entered the European Union, then the governments of Western Europe said to Romania, to the Romanian government, you cannot have children living under bridges and in the sewers, so you have to do something about these orphans. And what they did, the new Romanian government, was very simple. They did two things. One, they refurbished some former communist prisons because they had plenty of these prisons, and put the orphans in these refurbished communist prisons. And the second thing they did, they forbade by law any establishment taking care of orphans to be called an orphanage. So all of a sudden, there were no orphans and no orphanages. But there are still many orphans, and my parents, when they visited Romania for the last time, they founded an orphanage there, the Agape Orphanage, and that's how I was able to continue their work. In fact, next week there will be 16 years since the death of my mother, and that was one reason why I tried and organized this concert. Since Tallinn came in very handy, I thought that would be a way to honor my parents. And I want to share with you one great word that I learned from my mother. She always repeated, you can never love enough. You can never love enough. And because of this word, I want to thank you for coming here this afternoon. This is a gesture of love toward our family, toward these musicians. And there are needy causes all over. There was a captain in World War II, an American captain, and at a certain moment on the front, he issued a proclamation. He issued a daily bulletin, and he said, soldiers, the enemy surrounds us. He is on our left, he is on our right, he is in front, he is in our back. This time, he cannot escape us. And there are so many opportunities to do good. No one can complain that there are no opportunities to ennoble his or her life by doing good. Also, coming to the United States, I heard a very beautiful anecdote about a stutterer who was looking for a job, and nobody wanted to hire him. So finally, a Bible selling company hired him out of pity and gave him some Bibles to go around and sell them. And in a very short time, in less than 2 months, he became the top Bible seller of this company. So they called him in, they asked him what was his method, how come he sells so many Bibles. And he says, oh, it's very simple. Of course, he said that's stuttering, but I will not take all your time explaining that. But he said, I go to the door and I present this Bible and I say, please buy this Bible, but you do not have to buy it, because if you don't want to buy it, I can explain to you everything that's inside this Bible. I gave you plenty of stuff to read in these bulletins and programs. It's a little bit a different type of program, so you can go home, and if you are interested, that's a good cause that you can help. Also, if you are interested in receiving a monthly newsletter, inside the program, there is a slip where you can put your name and address so that you can keep in touch with what this family is doing. Mimi and Alex went back to Romania and they played there, also trying to alert the people in Romania about the predicament that happened there. I tried to do it here in the United States. One can never love enough. Thank you for coming.